everybody doing? Oh, I got nothing. Doing? How's everybody doing out there? We're glad to be back here tonight. We had an amazing night last night. I don't know, did any of you see the first kind of installment of this? I had Eric Slaughter and Friends Volume 1 in April. Was anybody here at that time? Okay, that's good. It's all new people. That was actually a thing I did for my birthday. And I had all these amazing artists that I played through, like all through my career. Like Denise, Thimes. I can't remember what, but I had like so many singers. And we did like an homage to singers and to Latin music. And it was like so much fun. But I'm not the best person to put out advertisements and things, so people didn't see it. So everybody was saying how great of a show it was, but like nobody saw it. And then they were talking about other people, so Jazz St. Louis gave me an opportunity to do it again. So please put your hands together for Jazz St. Louis and Dave Stewart to allow us to do this again. I brought some great musicians here this time. These are the guys that I love playing with, and they don't always get a chance to play together, so it's kind of a special thing. On the piano, we have Mr. Matt Villinger. Matt was originally from St. Louis, but now he's like killing it in Kansas City. There was a year where I would go up there and play with him on the weekend. He was like, man, come up here. We had a gig at the Green Lady. And he's like, if you get more money to come up here, and if you can't, you stay down there. But it's funny because after 2 years after that, I don't know how long he had been there, but I went there once to play a gig, and he and Peter Schlam were in the front of Kansas City Magazine, and they're from St. Louis. It's like, what are these kids? These St. Louis dudes are killing the Kansas City scene. But I'm so great to have him here. Like, he's a genius, and please put your hands together again. On the bass, this guy I've known for many years too. We both played with, do any of you remember Willie Aikens? He had a gig at Brewer. We both played with Willie, but at different times. Like, I was living in New Orleans, and I lived in New York for a little bit. And so he was playing before I left, and then I played like after when I came back. So it was like two different bands, but we both have this history with Willie. We both have some really funny Willie Aikens stories. But this guy plays with everybody now. At one point, I remember he was teaching at 4 of the major universities here at once. I was like, how do you have time to do that? But he's great. Put your hands together for Mr. Ben Wheeler. On the trumpet, are any of you here from East St. Louis? Yeah. Okay. This guy is an OG from East St. Louis. Like, I grew up playing with, it was weird, I went to a private school, but I met this guy who, I met Bob Edwards, who was teaching at on the east side, but I was a generation kind of below you guys. But I heard about this guy and Reggie Thomas and all these incredible musicians. They would go to Europe. Like, their high school band was so good, they went to Europe. So he was like involved with that. And now he lives in Springfield, Illinois. He's amazing, an amazing musician, Mr. Jason Brewer. So grateful to play with him. This last guy, we've known each other for a long time. Another East Side guy. I don't know if you know this, but East Side, that's the home of Miles Davis. Like, some of the greatest people in the music world. But I first met Demarius playing with Oliver Sane on the Oliver Sane gig. I was like, this guy is going to be ridiculous. And he has more than promised that. He's related to so many amazing musicians. I can't even count all of them. I won't say it. One of them I know is Terry on Gully, who plays with Diane Reeves, but his whole family is like the history of music. John King on bass, everybody. But listen to his playing. He's a genius. He's amazing. I'm so glad to have him here with me tonight. Put your hands together for Mr. Demarius Hicks. We're going to play another tune of mine. That first tune was a tune of mine called I Am That. Does anybody here know who Ramana Maharshi is? He's like a spiritual teacher. I won't get into that. But this next tune is called Angels. It's like by angels in your life who help you out. It's always the people you never expect who like really help you in times of need. And this is a homage to that. It's called Angels. Put your hands together again for Demarius Hicks on the drums. Years ago, I took a gap year from life. I was working on a cruise ship, and my mom died, and so I sold her house, and I kind of technically lived nowhere. So I got off the ship, and a lot of my friends who were living on the ship, we were going to Cozumel, and we were leaving from San Diego, and they would just get off in one of the ports and like take their break there and come back maybe after a month or something. And we were doing like 7 months to 9 month contracts. So I decided to take a gap year and go to South America. And first I went to, well, all in all, I went to Quito, Ecuador. I went to Cali, Colombia, and Buenos Aires, and Costa Rica. I went to a lot of places in Costa Rica, Samarin, Fly Samarin. But I really was struck by this experience I had before that when I went to Brazil. My ex-wife was Brazilian, so we went everywhere in Brazil, and you know, they speak Portuguese, so, and a lot of times they don't speak English, so I always had interpreters for me, like in-house interpreters. So that whole time I lived there, I never wanted to go back to Brazil because I would have to be a tourist. I'd be totally locked outside of the world that I experienced before. And the people were so beautiful, and they have like a different way of relating to each other than Americans do. It's just more like physical contact on meeting people, and just like more open, and just more like not about what your job is and like how you can help me, but just like more like real contacts between people. And so I went up north there, and they have, I guess, a lot of the immigrants, not immigrants, but like from slavery, they call it Bahia. And they're all these African people who have been there for hundreds of years, and they have this great musical town up there called Salvador. And I went on the streets, and it's kind of, has anybody here ever been to New Orleans? Yeah. And you see like all the colonial kind of architecture. So you feel this French colonial vibe, but you hear all this music too. Well, Salvador is similar, but you hear all of this choro, which is like, it's like Brazilian music. It's like a mixture of music from Portugal, which they call, I can't remember what they call it, but it means like crying or, tears. And a mixture of African rhythms. And I saw these great musicians on the street. And so I was inspired to write this song called Salvador Smile, which I played for too long. It's one of my favorite songs, but you all have never heard it because you didn't come to the first show. So we're gonna play it now.
All right.
We're gonna play Salvador Smile. Wheeler on bass. Brewer on the trumpet. That song was inspired by the Dogon people of Africa. I saw this thing where they were dancing, and I suddenly understood where the time was for them. But if you heard it, it's all polyrhythmic, so they have these different rhythms happening at the same time. It freaked me out. And then I started listening to this music of Morocco, where they would have these underpinnings of the, have you all seen the big round drum where they play with their hands? It's so funny how music and food fuse through different cultures. I also saw these Tajik people in China doing the same thing, the same rhythm, but with like a Russian melodies on top of it. So the point is we're all together. Like the human family is one family. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Like, we're gonna bring up our favorite friend. He's gonna do a song for you. I first saw him, he's much younger than most of us. Maybe not that. No, most of us, we're all like, yeah. But he's in his like early 30s, late 20s. And he's a great soulful singer. Last night we had an amazing night with Denise Thimes. And it was just so soulful. Kim Fuller. And he is in that same line, but he's a younger guy. And when I heard him, I was like, oh man, I have to like expose him to other people, and I have to let him play with people he doesn't usually play with, because he usually plays with like R&B kind of things. But he's got a soul that transcends styles. So please put your hands together for Dakota Pagan.
Let's give a round of applause for these fantastic musicians on stage. Stellar. Yeah, my name is Dakota Pagan, and I'm very blessed and highly favored to be here tonight. I consider it kind of a rite of passage here to be accepted by such a talented and highly respected group of musicians, and for him to say that about me, the other vocalists, I would disagree, but I'll take the compliment. So I appreciate it very much. So I hope you enjoy yourselves for what we're about to do. I know you enjoyed yourselves so far. I'm gonna stop the talking and get to singing. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Wasn't born a certain strange enchanted boy. They said he traveled very far, over land and sea. A little shine sad, but very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day, he came my way, and as he spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: greatest joy you will never know is just to love and be loved and traveled very far, very far, over land and sea. Let go shine, shine. Everybody's was he. Then one day, one magic day, he came my way. He spoke of many things, rules and kings. This he said to me, the greatest shine. Universe, just to love.
Did it.
Make some noise for wherever we are. Yeah.
Put your hands together for Dakota Pagan on the vocals. We'll be back. Are you guys having a good time? This is what I wanted to do. I always wanted to have a concert where all my favorite people were playing here together. Because I would play with different groups. But I was like, why does this guy never play with this guy? And this guy never plays with this guy. It's just habits. But we can break our habits and make a better product. And this is a good product, right? Once more again, I'm going to go real quickly through the band and just give credit where credit is due. On the drums, we have Mr. Demarius Hicks. On the bass, Mr. Villinger. On the trumpet, Mr. Brewer. On the piano, Mr. Villinger. And my name is Eric Slaughter. I'm so sad. I'm sad this is the last night. We have 2 nights to do this. It's kind of like you go into boot camp, you rehearse all the music, and then it's like, then it's over. But usually it's 1 night, so I'm grateful to play with these musicians for 2 nights. We're going to play a tune now that I wrote as an homage to the big G, to God. I didn't believe in God for many years, and he tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, I'm right here. I'm still not doing everything right, but I do know he exists. And so I wrote this song in homage to him called Guided by the Light.
All right.
Eric Slaughter once again, everyone.
I'll say a few words about this tune. I was actually working on you know, January and February are historically very slow months for music in St. Louis. So a guy called me to play on a cruise ship in Hawaii on, what is the Dutch, I can't remember what is, but it was just like, I think it was like 8 weeks or maybe 6 weeks. And I had my studio in my room, and this tune came out of an attempt. I realized I always usually write either the melody and the chord changes at the same time. And I've wrote songs where I've written the chord changes and written the melody afterwards. But I was like, I very rarely write the melody and then write the chord changes afterwards. And it feels like arranging somebody else's song. Because a lot of times if you have, like I've had situations where people say, I want to play this song, and it's like an established cover song. And I have to rearrange it. So I've got the melody and some semblance of how it was originally done, and I have to like change the chords underneath. So it kind of felt like that. So this is the first song that I've ever written in that way. And it came out, I was like, oh man, maybe I should start writing more like this. I like this. So this is a song called What We Already Knew. Put your hands together for Demarius Hicks. We live in a time where we have to conform more and more to the standards of whoever the gatekeepers are. But if you ever look back in time to the people who have changed our lives for the better, they were never those kind of people. They were people who didn't fit in and people who maybe the society didn't want at the time, but in retrospect, we revere them. And I think that everybody has something inside of them that's unique, but like with technology and everything, it seems like we're becoming more homogenous and everything's becoming more and more the same. So I wrote this song as like a protest to that, just in my own mind, not to just be contrary for the sake of being contrary, but to really honor what your soul is telling you to do at each moment. And I call this song Keeping My Own Counsel. We're going to bring Dakota up again, have some more fun with him. But before we do, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I thought tonight was the light night. We had a packed night on Friday, but I want to thank everybody for coming out and gracing us with your presence and your enthusiasm. You're a great audience tonight. Thank you so much. Dakota takes the long way, the most difficult way. But he gets here. Put your hands together again for Dakota Pagan.
Anybody know any good jokes while he's standing? Anybody? No? Nah, I mean, it's okay. One more time for this band, guys.
It's really my honor to play with these guys, and for the sound guys and doing all the hard work back there you can't see. Yeah, that makes it more simple. Yeah. Oh, but see you, baby, running over through my mind. Helpless as a baby, just searching for the sky. I'm so glad I found you. Getting back to all the time. I can't help it, I put it till I put it, help it, but if I could pay, help it, I put it till, put it on the floor. Help it, I put it till, when it help it, even if I do. Help it, I put it till, help my fingers, something by your side. No can't possess you, baby. Rolling off the looking round down my eyes. I guess it's happening. Heaven is the prize. I'm so glad I found you, not just found you. You're an angel in disguise. Help me, I wanted to. Just help it, even if I couldn't pay. Help me, I wanted to. Help me, Lord. Hey, help me, I wanted to. But I help it, even if I couldn't pay. Help me, I wanted to. Help me, Not a lot needs to be said about Mr. Brewer over here. Mr. Hicks. In time, on the right time. Demarius Hicks. It was in time, on time at the right time. Y'all mind if I take one? Let's go.
Put your hands together for Dakota Pagan.
I appreciate you guys very much, man. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Vocals for Dave. Demarius Hicks on drums. Ben Wheeler on the bass. Jason Brewer on the trumpet. And Matt Villinger on the piano. We want to thank you for coming out again. We'll be here. Look for us for Eric Slaughter and Friends. And actually, if you're not doing anything else, go to my website and I'll have all the events on the calendar there. But thank you very much. You've been a great audience. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you. One more time, Eric Slaughter, everybody.